Morning, ladies and gentlemen. I think I'm talking to the committee members. Anybody else joining us, Nicholas?
Through you, Mr. Chair. No, there's no one else on Zoom.
Okay, thank you. This is a hearing of the Committee of Adjustment for the City of Thorold for Thursday, February 15th, 2024. Everyone present will be given an opportunity to speak for or against the applications being heard. When given a chance to speak, you will have only 5 minutes, so please make sure to be as clear and consistent as possible. For your information, Committee of Adjustment is a public process. Personal information such as the applicant's name and property address, which is reported at a Committee of Adjustment meeting, is public information. Minutes of this Committee of Adjustment meeting will be received by Thorold City Council at a public council meeting and become part of the public record. Please address your comments and questions through the chair. A copy of the decision will be sent to the applicant or agent or to any person who files a written request. Agencies commenting applications may request that certain conditions be imposed. Voicing objections to these conditions will not adversely affect the committee's decision. Committee of Adjustment is a quasi-judicial body operating under the Planning Act, the Municipal Act, and the Statutory Powers Procedure Act, as well as various provincial regulations. Sections 45 and 50 of the Planning Act outline the circumstances surrounding the approval of minor variances and controlling the conveyance of land in Ontario and the prevention of subdivision of land except with governmental approval. The applicant, minister, or any specified person or public body who has an interest in the matter may, within 20 days of the making of the minor variance decision and 20 days from the date of the mailing of consent decision, appeal to the Ontario Land Tribunal. Please note, neighbors and other interested parties not defined by the Planning Act are no longer eligible to file appeals as per Bill 23. More Homes Built Faster Act 2022. Would the Deputy Clerk please read the land acknowledgement?
The City of Thorold is situated on treaty land. This land is steeped in the rich history of the First Nations, such as the Haudenosaunee, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe, including the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. There are many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people from across Turtle Island that live and work in Niagara today. The City of Thorold stands with all Indigenous people, past and present, in promoting the wise stewardship of the lands in which we live.
Thank you. Does any member of this panel have a pecuniary interest in any of the application being considered at this hearing? No? Is Mr. DiPaolo with us, Mr. DeBono?
Through you, Mr. Chair, yes, he is on Zoom now.
Thank you. I'm assuming you have no pecuniary interest, Mr. DiPaolo? Thank you. May I have a motion from the committee that the agenda be adopted as presented? Moved by Mr. Ravenek, seconded by Mr. Pizzo. All in favor? Thank you. May I have a motion that the minutes from November 16th, 2023 meeting be adopted? Moved by Mr. Jackson, seconded by Mr. Ravenek. Any errors or omissions? Seeing none, all in favor? Thank you. We have a motion, minutes of January 25th, 2024 meeting be adopted. Moved by Mr. Daniels, seconded by Mr. Ravenek. Any errors or omissions? Seeing none, all in favor? Thank you. May I have a motion? Madam Secretary Treasurer, was notice given as required by the Planning Act?
Yes, sir, it was.
Are there any requests for withdrawal or adjournment?
No, sir, there are not.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The first application is D13, the only application, D1303-2024, 57 Regent Street. Mr. McIsaac, would you bring forward your report, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Connor McIsaac. I'm a planner with the City's Development Services team. I think I've met everybody here, but this is my first Committee of Adjustment, so I just wanted to introduce myself.
Welcome, Connor.
Thank you very much. Myself, along with my colleague, Mark Davidson, Senior Planner, have submitted the report for committee's consideration. The application is for D13-03-2024, and it's to permit a second dwelling unit within an accessory structure to the rear of an existing triplex at 57 Regent Street. The property is located on the south side of Regent Street at the southern limit of Wellington Street North, west of the Welland Canal. In order to facilitate the development as proposed, 2 minor variances from the city's zoning bylaws are requested. The first variance requested is to the city's 2140-97 zoning bylaw, which is to permit a second dwelling unit in an accessory structure within the R2S zoning. And that permission is in accordance with the city's updated 2019 zoning bylaw, section 3.21. Secondly, a variance to the city's 60-2019 zoning bylaw, which is to reduce the railway setback from 15 to 4.81 meters, is requested. No objections were received from any of the agencies that were submitted, including GeoRail and CN Rail. There were 2 comments that were received from the public. Their concerns are outlined in our report, as well as our addressing of those concerns. If there's any further questions on those, we'd be happy to answer. And then our conclusion is that the minor variances requested are approved, and then we'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you to the Planning Department. Is there anyone here to speak on behalf of this application?
Through you, Mr. Chair, there is no one online to speak to it.
Okay, thank you. Questions, comments from the committee members? Mr. Pizzo.
Connor, did you issue a building permit prior to variances?
Through you, Mr. Chair, I personally did not. The city did issue the building permit, which was an oversight. However, had these variances been requested prior to the building permit, they wouldn't have changed our recommendation.
Well, yeah, but that's beside the point, is you didn't have them prior to issuing a permit.
That's correct. The
right,
variances
that's
were
it.
not received prior to issuing the permit.
I got it, Connor. Okay, now is there any such thing as a sacred tree?
Through you, Mr. Chair, there's no protection for private trees in the city of Thorold,
No protection
unless it is designated under the Heritage Act.
Well-
So I think there is one. However, this one was not.
That's how I was surprised you gave that report and you had that in there. You have no problems with them. Suppose you get one.
Through you, Chair, yes, if this tree was protected under the Ontario Heritage Act, the protections as outlined in the Act would apply. However, the city itself does not have any protections for private trees.
Okay, but my last question is, you got a letter, didn't you?
Yes, sir, we did.
So why wasn't the letter distributed to us? Usually do.
Through you, Chair, we've tried to outline the key concerns in the letter, as well as...
That's not the letter.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure why the letter wasn't included. If there's any specifics in the letter that you think were maybe omitted, then we can discuss those as well.
Chairman, do you
Go ahead,
think
Mr.
there should
Pizzo.
be a letter should be come to us?
Yeah, I think that's a fair question. Have you seen the letter, Mr. Pizzo?
No.
Oh.
I think the letter should come to us.
And this is a letter from a resident, or?
Well, if there's summarized comments, there has to be a letter.
Connor, I'm pretty sure we always gotten, and it helps us, it really helps us.
Okay, I understand, and going forward, we'll make sure we include any letters that we receive.
Are you comfortable with the summarization, Mr.
Yeah,
Pizzo, or would you like to see the letter?
I appreciate your help.
You're okay with then?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Questions or comments, further questions, comments from the committee members? Mr. DiPaolo, do you have anything? Thank you, Mr. DiPaolo. Can we get him near a mic or something for our folks that don't hear so well?
Sir, you're not able to hear Mr. DiPaolo?
It's very faint, and I'm concerned that a couple of our members weren't able to hear him.
Okay, I do have them hooked up. I can pump the audio a little bit, but not much.
Can you hear him? Okay, I'm getting a nod from the folks, so everything's fine, thanks. Further questions, comments? Seeing none. Mr. Pizzo.
You got a question, George?
No, you still got a week from the applicant.
Yeah,
There's no one here.
no one's here.
Nobody's representing?
No.
Oh,
I would so move, because I think he did an outstanding job down there. He cleaned it up. It's been a horrible mess for years and years and years. He did a really nice job. He should be commended for what he did. So I'd like to make a motion that the application be approved based on the review of pertinent information, comments presented at the hearing, and having conducted a site visit for the reasons stated in the planning department.
Thank you, Mr. Pizzo. Do we have a seconder for that? Mr. Jackson, thank you. Further questions or comments? Mr. DeBono.
Yes, sorry, through you, Mr. Chair, just letting you know that Mr. DePaula has his hand raised.
Oh, thank you. I did not know that. Go ahead, Mr. DiPaolo.
I would just clarify, second paragraph C, report, the clause that wants to be added.
He wants the mover and the seconder to add C, D, and E from Geo Railways report.
Like expropriation if they ever expanded the rail.
I'm very surprised that the railway made a bigger report than this, but they must be happy.
You're fine adding C, D, and E to your motion? Seconder's fine with that? Okay.
So just for clarity, Mr. DePaula and perhaps the movers can also, the mover and seconder can clarify, C, D, and E being on page 6 of 9, under Geo Railways?
Yes.
Under the agency comments, Nick, C, D, and E, because C is pretty specific that the following clause should be inserted in all development agreements, right? And so there might be a right of way that the railway wants. So I think that needs to be clear.
Okay.
Mr.
Just-
McIsaac?
Just through your chair, I wanted to provide some clarification. So those comments, C, D, and E, are not necessarily related to the minor variance. So including them as a condition to the minor variance, it would be difficult, if not impossible, for the owner to fulfill those conditions prior to receiving the minor variance. So these are for future potential sales, and it's not related to the minor variance that's at hand today.
Mr. DiPaolo? You take them away? Did you withdraw them?
Okay, so just for clarity, then what I'll do is I'll put the original motion on the screen, just so we're clear on what we're proceeding with or voting on. Just give me 1 second here.
And just to keep Mr. DiPaolo extra happy, we'll make sure that C, D, and E are prominent in the minutes. Minute writer.
Okay, through you, Mr. Chair. I've got it on the screen there for committee members, including Mr. DePaula, to review. That's the original motion.
That's the original motion.
I got no problem with that. I couldn't even hear what the hell he was talking about.
That's okay. That's the original motion that you made. Everybody's fine with that? Okay, all in favor? Thank you. Other business. Madam Secretary.
Through you, Mr. Chair, Nicholas DeBono, our Deputy City Clerk, would like to provide an update regarding the ID badges.
Mr. DeBono.
Yes, thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. So, yeah, there was a question last week, I believe, from Mr. Jackson about the ID badges. I spoke with staff, and they confirmed that we do have photos of all members who are on the committee as of spring, early summer last year. So any new additions, I believe Mr. Ravenik, we can arrange to have a photo taken of you. We'll coordinate that, no problem. And then in terms of the badges themselves, they're currently redesigning the card. I believe it's just kind of going through final approvals. So the hope is that it'll be ready quite shortly. And we can provide anyone who wants one.
Mr. Pizzo. Mr. DeBono, do not say you need more than that.
All I can say is if you want an updated photo, I'm sure we can also facilitate that.
AI is very, very necessary on certain pictures. Anything else? Anybody else have anything? Motion to adjourn then. Mr. Daniels made a motion. I think I saw him twitch. All in favor? Thank you, folks. Thank you. Well done, Mr. McIsaac, on your first meeting.